DB, shaping your new normal.
Welcome everyone, wherever you are around the world. Welcome to the 2022 APEC OCI Days by Apaco UC. This is our first year having a dedicated OCI event, and it's our honor and privilege to run this event with the support of 15 Oracle user groups and Java user groups in the Asia-Pac region. Please remember to register to as many sessions as you can. This way, you will be able to have access to our replays until June 15, 2022. The upload of replays already started, and basically how you have access to them, you just go to the normal agenda of the event, register to attend as many sessions you wish. All the sessions you register will populate your individual schedule that you can see when you go to your attendant tab in the application. And there in the sessions, you will be able to see the links to the live ones if another happen when you need to join, and also the replay links if they already happen and the replay is already available. I would like to say thanks to our Oracle user groups and Java user groups that made this event possible, and also to our sponsors, the Oracle Ace community, the DevRel team, and our main sponsors, Oracle Corporation and CloudDB. Now for today's session, Oracle Analytics Cloud, you can leverage it today by Basheer Khan. Please feel free to ask questions at any time by using the right lower corner of your screen when you have the chat window, and Basheer will be answering our questions at the end of the presentation. If you are watching this presentation from one of the Facebook streams from some of the user groups that we are working with, you will have a moderator from your user group checking the chat window on the stream, and they will let us know at the end of the presentation if there's any questions coming from the Facebook side. And if you have any other technical issues during the presentation, please feel free to use the same chat window to let me know, and I will try to help you the best I can. Now, without any further ado, I want to leave you with this amazing session by Basheer Khan. Basheer, the room is all yours.
Thank you, Francisco. Appreciate you having me on this conference. Let me introduce myself. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Basheer Khan. Just thought I'd share a few things about me in case you have not seen me present before, in case you do not know me. I'm based out of Irvine, California. I started working with Oracle in '88, and my first database version was 5.1c. In '96, I started working with Oracle's e-business suite applications. That was version 9.6. In 2005, I got recognized as an Oracle Ace Director and part of the Oracle Ace program. And my specialization under the Ace Director program is both cloud applications as well as Fusion middleware. I was privileged to be invited to be a member of the Oracle Fusion Inner Circle. These days, I am heading Connect Technology, cloud applications implementation company out here in Irvine, California. There are some of my hobbies listed, but enough about me. Let's go look at what we have in store for you as part of this APAC OUC session. First, before we actually start looking at the Oracle Cloud Analytics, I will take you through an introduction to analytics, the different kinds of products that are included by Oracle under this platform, and then we'll specifically look at the Oracle Cloud Analytics, which indeed, if you sign up for a trial or acquire that, you can start leveraging today. I plan to end with questions, but before we open up for Q&A, I'll show you a brief demo of how the product works. So per Wikipedia, analytics is the systematic analysis of data or statistics. So it's used to interpret the data, it's used to extract meaningful patterns from the data that you have access to. And then you can apply these extracted data patterns to make effective decisions. So broadly, at a high level, Oracle or not, anytime someone talks about analytics, that's what it means. There's a few terminology, some phrases or words that are used in this domain that I'd like to make sure everyone understands. When we talk about a data warehouse or a data store, what we're talking about, especially a data warehouse, is a humongous amount of data that's been collected and stored in a centralized location. It could come from several different sources. The original formats and how it's kept and pulled from could be very disparate. And then once it all gets together in the central location, it's called a data warehouse. The second set of acronyms you may have heard or you may hear in this analytics domain or data warehousing is the concept of ETL or ELT. In the past years, it was always ETL, and more recently, you start seeing ELT as well. So ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. ELT, just flipping the load and transform, so it's extract, load, and transform. The difference being, before you load information to the data warehouse, does it get transformed or not? So in terms of ETL, you extract from one or more sources, then you have a staging area, an interim location or system or application where that data that you extracted or pulled is changed, altered, mapped, transformed, and then the transformed data is loaded into the data warehouse. In terms of ELT, a newer concept compared to ETL, you still extract from these different sources, but there's no staging area. You directly load that into the warehouse, and it gets transformed sometimes in flight as it's being loaded or after it has been loaded. So that's the major difference between ETL and ELT. I hope that clarification is useful. Next, let's look at the analytics products from Oracle. If you go to the website, and I have links at the end so you can actually go and verify all this, you'll see there are 3 different aspects listed under Oracle Business Analytics, namely the Oracle Analytics Platform, the Oracle Analytics mobile app, and Oracle Fusion Analytics. And we'll understand what these 3 are. Also important for you to know is Oracle Essbase, which is the embedded engine. It was part of the Hyperion acquisition by Oracle. So it's good for you to know what Essbase is. Oracle Analytics Platform, in the past, there used to be 2 components, Oracle Analytics Cloud and Oracle Analytics Server. Now they're collectively called as the Oracle Analytics Platform. So let's look at that. So it's essentially an AI-driven, so there's a lot of artificial intelligence components built in, being added with every upgrade. It's a platform that is AI-driven, it's modern, it has a lot of self-service capabilities, meaning you don't necessarily have to depend on IT to do some of the reporting analysis or generation of charts and metrics that you may need in your day-to-day business. That's how this presentation came together, that you can leverage it today by yourself because of the self-service capabilities. And we'll talk about how you go about it. We'll see how you can easily go about this. So that's the Oracle Analytics Platform. So it's a very strategic platform. It's not something that's a single end user tool. If your organization acquires this is a comprehensive platform that's complete, and it can be used across your entire organization by several users, or rather by every user, and so forth. So it's definitely a strategic platform that can benefit your organization. So there are 2 flavors, the standard edition, and these are the components that are included in the standard edition. And then there's the enterprise edition, which has some additional capability. And then, of course, to store the data and leverage the data, you need access to or you need to purchase the Oracle Database Cloud Service. Next, from a Oracle Analytics mobile standpoint, it's an app that Oracle provides that enables you to have analytics on the go. So wherever you are, you can have this app downloaded. It can personalize the content that's available to you. And any of these reports, charts, metrics that you build can be visible to you on the go. So it uses natural language processing. You could query or request information verbally or listen to the results. So you may be driving, you could just say, what were the sales last year in California, and it will narrate that to you. So you don't need to type in or click and then view the information. So this app has the ability to process natural language, that means your speech, and then provide the results by narrating them or through the speaker. You can listen to the results of the query. Very powerful, very good application. So and I'm going to show you, whatever you build in this demo that you see or anything you build after you purchase or try out this platform can be accessible through the mobile app. Next, let's talk about Fusion Analytics. So we talked about the platform, which is the underlying technology that drives this product. We talked about the mobile app, which is one of the ways in which you can extract and listen to the information reporting from this product. Fusion Analytics specifically built product for Oracle Cloud applications or Fusion applications. So for those of you who may not know, Oracle about 10 years ago created a brand new set of applications designed and built for the cloud, hosted in the cloud. That's when they invited over approximately 100 individuals globally. They created the Fusion Inner Circle, happened to be one of them. We all got together, we looked at the requirements, the validation, the beta testing, and early adoption. So we were part of the build of these cloud applications. So it's a comprehensive set of applications, a complete suite that handles your ERP, your financials, your purchasing, your projects, EPM, your planning, budgeting, and every component of enterprise performance management, your HCM, payroll, HR, talent management, CX application, which is marketing, sales, service, coding applications, CPQ, e-commerce apps that let people place orders on the web, supply chain, manufacturing. So you name it, it contains all the components, and it's available under the software as a service umbrella of Oracle products. So there's this whole new set of applications, not so new. 10 years ago, it started to become available, and now more and more modules, verticalization by industry is happening, and the adoption of Oracle Cloud applications has been exponential. Every year, we see more and more customers globally either migrate to or purchase these applications. So Fusion Analytics specifically was built to layer on top of Oracle Cloud applications. So if you're using Oracle Financials, there's analytics available for you. So instead of you building this analytics from scratch, it's able to build it. Oracle has already built it. You just need to implement it, and it's ready to use. So you don't have to think through all the possible metrics you need. It comes with the hundreds of metrics and charts and cards that you can put on your dashboards and so forth. So there are different flavors of analytics. So first to be released was the ERP analytics, and there was a subset of modules under that, and I'll show you how it evolved and where it is today. And after ERP analytics, we had the HCM analytics released by Oracle, and the most recent addition to the Fusion Analytics family is the supply chain management analytics. So for those of you who may be wondering what ERP, HCM, and SCM stand for, ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, that includes financials, purchasing, and projects. HCM, Human Capital Management, that is core HR, payroll, and other components. Supply chain management, which is inventory, order management, manufacturing, quality, and so on, all those components. So if you look at ERP analytics, these are all the different areas under ERP that are available as a overlay on top of your ERP applications. So you can have analytics under general ledger. You can look at profit and loss, P&L statement, balance sheet, revenue. Under receivables, you also have payables. You can analyze the spend. You can analyze your expenses. You can understand how your purchasing or procurement is working. You can understand how your projects are doing. You can look at your assets, fixed assets. So as you can see on the right, that's just a glimpse of the kind of pre-built metrics and dashboards that are available under the Fusion ERP analytics. Next, under human capital management, there are several areas. Workforce management, this is your employee headcount. How many employees do you have? What's the female to male gender ratio? You have how's your retention? How are your employees leaving? Or are you able to retain them? How's your top talent being retained? So you can see on the right, there's all these metrics under workforce management. Similarly, you have talent acquisition, meaning you're hiring, you're recruiting, the kind of profiles and skills that you're hiring, diversity and inclusion, how diverse is your workforce? Do you have different cultures? Are you equally hiring without any discrimination and so forth? All kinds of information that is important to human resources professional, human resources department, your organization, as well as your executive management, as well as for reporting to authorities as well. So lots of very good analytics that are available in this area, Fusion HCM analytics. And the most recent one, as you can see, there's just a few modules for now. I'm sure over time you'll get more and more. So you have order management, inventory, and procurement analytics that are available already. And this is ready to go today. So again, to recap, what you see as Fusion Analytics is the buy versus build. For today's discussion, I'm going to talk about how you build it yourself. But that's a long drawn process, right? So if you want to skip all that, you could directly go purchase one of these three, either the ERP analytics, HCM analytics, or SCM analytics, and you have a starting point, and then you can build on top of that. But the Oracle Analytics Cloud is the underlying platform that powers this. So what I'm going to show you today, you can use that technology and build it yourself. One of the reasons you may want to do it is you may not be using Oracle Cloud applications, or you're only using cloud applications for your financials, but you have all these third-party applications that you need analytics from, but Oracle is not providing that out of the box. So you can correlate data and present or analyze it alongside this as well. So you can have purely Fusion Analytics modules, or you can have purely custom-built analytics using the Oracle Analytics Cloud, or you can have a hybrid. You can mix and match and extend these Fusion Analytics to also include other analytics. The last product I wanted to touch on is Essbase. So this is what enables users to define or build complex financial models, do what-if analysis. In fact, Essbase is embedded within Oracle Fusion applications in the general ledger. That's where it stores all the account balances, and you're able to quickly extract it. Also, it's embedded within Oracle's EPM modules, planning and budgeting, enterprise planning and budgeting. All the EPM modules use Essbase. So that's the underlying technology, and it's very powerful. It's able to handle very large amounts of data, summarize it, generate quick results for you, and you can slice and dice and extract information, and you can also do data modeling with this. So that completes a look at the different types of products that are available under the Oracle Business Analytics umbrella. And as I mentioned towards the end of this presentation, I will show you the links where you can go and gather more information about it. With that completed, let's now look at the main topic of today's presentation, Oracle Analytics Cloud, how you can leverage it today. So Analytics Cloud, if you're not purchasing Fusion Analytics, allows you to quickly collaborate with different team members within your organization, quickly extract, build capability to read data that's stored in different systems in a real-time fashion, combine it, correlate it, and then present it to various users or consume it yourselves. So you see it could extract from any of these applications that you see on the left. You see many Oracle applications as well as non-Oracle applications. So it can extract data from any of them there. And we'll talk about how. And then you can have other information that's not stored. Maybe it's changing on a daily or weekly basis. You can enter that in Excel and import that too. And that the two can be commingled and collated. And then on the right, you see that becomes visible and accessible by management, by end users, and so forth. So it's a very powerful platform to extract, transform, and visualize your data. So the 3 steps to use Oracle Analytics Cloud, and we'll go through each one, is to prepare, meaning the first part where we talked about how you'll pull the data from different sources. The next step is to visualize, create the various visuals, charts, graphs, tables, and then you can actually have it narrate. Now, narrate, I know when you see the word, it looks like someone is talking or telling you a story. Yes, it narrates. The system has the capability. I told you already in the mobile app, it can actually, you can listen to it telling you information. So there's the narration capability included. But narrate in a different context is to actually view, and it'll keep refreshing. You can be viewing the latest changes real time as well. So first, let's talk about the prepare. Once you have analytics provisioned and you're ready to go, you could create a project. That's the first step, or a worksheet that you're going to be using. And then you would add or create what's called a data set. So you could have any number of data sets. One data set could be data from Oracle Cloud application. Another could be from Salesforce. Another could be from Workday. Any third-party application. A fourth data set could be from an Excel sheet. So you can create the data set by establishing connection to the underlying data, or you can upload a spreadsheet to generate the data set. You can connect to various databases, or you can connect to cloud applications in case you want to extract it from cloud applications. So that's how you'd be preparing the data. As I said, you have all these different ways in which you can load data from. So you can load from files or relational tables, or Oracle's transactional business intelligence, which is another product. You can actually, the output of OTBI, Oracle Transactional Business Intelligence, could become the input to Oracle Analytics Cloud. You can connect to any JDBC data source. You can connect to applications like RightNow. You can connect to Essbase, and so forth. You can actually write to as well. You can push it into Essbase. You can push the data into Flatpak. So these are all the different ways in which Analytics Clouds could be used. And this here shows you the kinds of connections. So remember I said in the earlier slide, you could, as part of preparation, you'll create a data set and you'll have to create a connection. Now to create the connection, you have, and this is just a subset, there are many more, you could have different types of connections. So as you can see, there's some Oracle connections on the top row, but below that you see all kinds of non-Oracle connections that are possible, and the list is continuing to grow. So this, even though it's an Oracle product, it allows you to connect and extract data from all these non-Oracle, or for that matter, any non-Oracle product. If you don't see a connector here, it's possible to import it through a file from that product. So you can pretty much pull data from anywhere. So that's the prepare step. So how do you visualize? So once the data is created, the visualization is established using role-based access. So what does visualization mean? It means how the data is viewed, right? And depending on the role of the person in the organization, their requirement, their need to view may differ. They may be an analyst who needs to have very detailed information and be able to drill down. A service manager is interested in how many tickets were opened. A sales manager wants to see how his or her team is performing. Are they meeting the quota? Is there a large pipeline where the deals are coming, and so on? Sales VP wants to see more summarized. They're responsible for global sales. How's region A doing versus region B? What are the trends? How's the revenue? And so on. So you can see just some examples of different roles wanting different kinds of charts and visualization. So anything you see in a card or a chart is called a visualization. So you can define them and you can then make them available based on the person's role. That's what happens in the step. So first we prepared and then you visualize. So some of the capabilities within the platform that lets you visualize, again, if you saw all that and say 10 years ago, if you wanted to do that, it would probably involve a lot of coding. But with this platform, you could simply drag and drop and it'll recommend what's the best way to visualize. So, and it's not the end. If you created a bar chart, you can easily switch it to a pie chart or some other way of visualization. It also has the ability to answer questions from the mobile app or from a desktop app. It could respond to your questions, either typed or spoken. Essentially, remember I said it is a strategic platform. It's something that can make information available to everyone. It can empower everyone to make the data meaningful. Many times you have all these transactions being entered, data being captured, and it's just sitting there without giving you any insights or useful information that will help you make decisions. This changes that, right? You could also say what are called story points, meaning you can have snapshots that says, okay, you looked at the chart today, but you want to see how was it same time last year, or the beginning of each month. You can have snapshots and so on. So you can maintain a history of your analytical moments. You can add comments. So you're looking at something, you can add a comment, and your boss can look at that and say, oh, that's a good point you're making there, and so on. You can change the way your internal meetings or discussions are happening by collaborating using this platform. And it leads to more effective organizations that are able to make good decisions and move quickly as the market or the trends change. So very powerful, very useful for organizations. So just to give you a glimpse of how it looks, you'll actually see it, see the product in a few minutes, but that's how the visualize component works. Here's another example. We'll take a look at it shortly. So these are just some screenshots in case my demo stopped working. Then comes the narrate part, right? The narration is pulling it all together, putting together what are called canvases. So you see the tabs at the bottom. Each one is called a canvas. So each tab can tell a different story. Each insight has its own tab. So once you establish this, you can let it run real time. You can project it on a large TV screen, and you could see metrics changing real time, the lines moving, the charts moving as information is being fed into this analytics cloud. So that's what narration is. So that completes the slides portion. And I hope you're putting your questions in. I will, as soon as I finish my demo, take a look at the chat and see if there are any questions. But I wanted to give you an overview of analytics, specifically what are the different components of the Oracle Analytics product. And then I wanted to walk you through the steps in which you would leverage the Oracle Analytics Cloud in case you wanted to build your own analytics. The alternative to that build, of course, is you could directly buy Oracle Fusion Analytics if you are using Fusion applications. With that, let me switch over to the demo that I quickly put together. So as you can see on top, there are the three steps. The data tab is for the prepare. The visualize is to actually build those charts, and then the present is the narrate portion. Now in this case, I'm going to add a data set. So I can create a brand new data set quite easily. And let me connect to I'm using a database connection to the demo schema that I have. And there's a specific user that I can potentially use that contains sales information. Now I want you to watch carefully. If you see on top, I have turned on auto join tables. So these different data tables in the schema have relationships built. So the first thing I want to do is let me drag and drop. Remember I said you just need to drag and drop. So I'm going to drag and drop the customers across. What I'm doing is building a data set. I skipped the part where you have to build a connection. I used a pre-built connection to an Oracle database in the interest of time. But you see now I have dragged the customer data, and if you see below, it's loading it. So what it's doing is going and looking at the customer table, understanding what the different columns are, and then giving you an idea how many unique values exist. For example, if you see customer gender, it says there are 67% male and 32% female customers loaded here. So it's actually giving you a little bit of analytics right here. And so marital status is showing up here. This is years of, so you see the different metrics that are being pulled, and year of birth, you can see the year of birth showing up, and city, and so on. So you see a little metric right there, but it did this without me doing anything. Just by dragging the customer data, you right away are getting a feel for how your data is kept. And there are many more columns, of course, so you can see all the columns here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the sales table over here. Then you see the magic happen. It's auto-joined it. So it found that there's an underlying relationship between sales and customer, meaning every sale that I have in the system has a customer ID. So using that ID, it's connected the two. Now it's going around and analyzing the sale and saying, oh, these are the different columns in the sale table. There's the amount sold, there's the quantity sold, but it's connecting the dots and linking it all together, right? Then let's say that's sale, and I notice there's a product ID, so I'm going to drag the product over here. Now it's auto joining the product and linking the two. So you see how easily it's able to pull different data sets together, and you're able to see the information. So I also notice there's a time ID. You can pull the time over here, and it'll link that. I can pull the channel, I can pull the country. So you can easily keep adding more and more columns, more and more tables, and they will continue to get auto-joined. So it becomes easy for you to see. Now, it did not join countries to sales. Countries are linked automatically to customers. So you see how powerful it is. It's able to sense how the data is organized and how it's kept in your system. And this is something you can continue to re-enter, come back to this join diagram, and say tomorrow you added a couple more tables, you can come back and add those tables and so on. So let me save this data set, and I'll call it my demo data set. Okay, so this was my first step, right? I'm preparing the data, and to keep it simple, I'm not joining multiple sources, but I'm picking data from one particular connection to an Oracle database where I had loaded some sample data, and now it went across multiple tables. It's a complex set of relationships that are there, and it connected all of them. All right. Now let's go back here. And you see on my workbook, now my data set shows up. So add the data set to the workbook. All right. So now it's in the workbook. And you see it shows up here. All the different values are showing up here. Of course, you can make them look better. Right now, it's showing the standard column names with capital letters and so on, but you can make them more business friendly by changing the case to proper case, meaning first letter is capital of each word and so on. You could make it look much prettier than it is. But for this demo, I'm keeping it quick and simple so we can see all three stages. Now that we have the data set here, if you click on the Visualize tab, it presents to you a canvas. And here's the best part. You could simply select various values. Say, I want to select, let me make this bigger so you can see the full column name. All right. So I have the country, and I'm going to select the amount sold. Okay. And then I right-click and say Create Best Visualization. So what it's doing now is, there you go. Without any effort on my part, other than selecting what I want to see, it quickly created a visualization that shows, here's the amount sold by country. Say, fine, I like that. I also want to see the quantity sold by country. So this time I'm going to select the quantity and the country, and I say create best visualization. And here I have my next metric, now showing the quantity sold by country. Say I'm looking at that and I'm saying, you know what, it'll be nice to see which product got sold. So I'm going to take the product name and I'm going to drag it to, let me drag that over here under country and see what it does. There you go. It's not really, I'm just showing you, but it's not necessarily the way I may want to see it. So now I can remove the country to make it more meaningful. Now I'm seeing the quantity sold by product. So you can simply select the facts and from here and the dimensions, and then be able to generate different kinds of charts, graphs, and we'll keep on adding over here to the canvas. You see down below, you see the canvas, and you have been adding. So now what you can also do is you can add filters. So you have all this information, and if you go under times, I should have a year. I can have calendar year or fiscal year. Say I'm going to use calendar year, and I drag it up to the filter. So here I can choose a range of years, or I can simply select from year to year. So I'd say, not sure, maybe this should work. So if I select a range of years from 1991 to 95, the charts would automatically adjust and tell me what the, see, the chart went away because perhaps I chose a set of years that are not correct, so immediately it disappeared. Say I can remove that. Maybe this is not working for me. I had to figure out the exact years. I'm deleting that. The charts will come back. What I can do then is I can actually add a filter by the country name. So I can drag and drop the country name here. In that case, say I can see just for Argentina, how do the sales look? Just for Brazil, or both Argentina and Brazil. You see? Now you see how the charts automatically change to reflect what I'm doing. So these are the kind of things you can be doing in Visualize here. And imagine building a canvas or a set of canvases each for different departments, different management, different VPs. And you can have, you can put together what's relevant to which VP. And after you're finished, you could go to the present portion where you'd have the canvases you built, and then you'd simply drag the canvas from here and add it to the bottom over here. So you could have a series of canvases that are available. And once you have built everything, you see this little icon? That's the narrate part where you click that and it goes into a presentation mode, and you could see this, and this could be on a large display and it keeps refreshing and so on. So with this demo, I walked you through the prepare, which is on the data tab. I walked you through the visualize, where you're able to pull in different metrics and build filters and all that good stuff. And then I showed you how you get into the narrate or present mode where you're demonstrating the capability of this, or that's the day-to-day use of this product. So that was my little demo. I hope you liked it. With that, let me acknowledge that many of the images that you saw in this presentation was from Oracle's website. I want to acknowledge that. And here are the links I promised. So if you want to learn more about this, just go to oracle.com/business analytics. Or if you want to look at a specific component of what I shared with you, you can say /analytics platform, or analytics mobile, or Fusion Analytics, or Fusion ERP, HCM, or SCM Analytics, and you'll get a lot more information about this product. With that, let me see if I have any questions on the chat. Let me ask my friend Francisco, do you see any questions from anyone?
Sorry, I didn't notice I was talking to myself. I was on mute. I have
No
a
worries.
question for Jim Leong. Where can the database reside to be accessible?
Oh, very good question. So in order for this, so obviously this product is in the cloud, right? So the database could be in Oracle's cloud. It could be part of Oracle's applications cloud, or it's part of the OCI Gen 2 where you have a database. So there's two aspects, right? You have the database that this product needs, and that has to be in the Oracle cloud. It has to be an Oracle database. That's where all the warehouse is stored. But your sources could be anywhere else, right? They could be in a non-Oracle, could be on any of the non-Oracle cloud platforms. It could be on-premise that you have, and you can load it from there. So your data that is the source for this could be anywhere. But the database that's needed to power the analytics cloud that you saw has to be an Oracle database in the cloud. It's part of the platform. It's already stored in the cloud. I hope I answered your question.
Let me check. Anyone has any other question? I'm just waiting for Facebook to know if there is anything coming from there too.
And while we're waiting, in case you want to get in touch with me, you can email me. That's my email address, or you can follow me on Twitter. @bkhan is my handle. I just happen to be one of those fortunate early adopters of Twitter. I got to choose my name. So you can follow me or DM me on Twitter as well.
Okay, we have one more question. Is the source data loaded fully into the analytics product, or is a snapshot?
It is, no, great question. The source data is loaded into the data warehouse. That's how it's able to analyze and quickly react. You cannot reference the data, meaning you can't leave it in the source database and try to pull it as you're visualizing. It all has to be loaded. So that's a great point. In order to make sure the performance is good, you may want to pick and choose what you're loading. You may want to summarize what you're loading and so on. But another great question. Thank you for that. Yes, you have to load it.
And let me see. that's do we have a preview the data sets for EBS release 12.2?
You will have to manually load them. At least as of now, the only pre-built pipes that are available to load into this platform is from Fusion applications, from either ERP, HCM, or SCM. I'm not aware of any pipes yet from EBS, but I'm sure potentially if there's a lot of demand, Oracle would potentially pre-built into Fusion Analytics. Great question again. Thank you.
Fantastic. And no questions coming from Facebook. And in the meantime, if anyone has any question, or if you want to do a question offline, if you're watching the replays, and as Basheer already mentioned, his contact information is on screen. You can see his Twitter handle. You can see his email, and you can also contact him directly to any questions at any time regarding the presentation. And I can see Babu is trying to write something. Let me just check if it's a question or not. And in the meantime, thank you so much, Basheer, for sharing your time with the community, sharing your knowledge and experience, and sharing all this with the Asia Pac and global community all around the world. And Babu just mentioned thank you for the nice presentation. And
I appreciate it.
No, but looks like there's no more question in that case. In that case, thank you so much again, Basheer. Thank you so much, everyone that came to the presentation. And we still have another 4 live sessions today. Don't miss, you have some amazing sessions also coming. And saying that, thank you, Basheer. Thank you, everyone. Please take care and be safe. Bye-bye, everyone.
My pleasure. Thank you all. Talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.